Thank you. Mr. Executive Director, members of UN Watch, it is an honor to speak before you today to discuss in advance of the General Assembly elections Algeria's application to become a 2023-2025 member of the UN Human Rights Council. Please permit me to focus my remarks on key factors that make Algeria an unfit candidate. First of all, I'd like to give you an overview of Algeria's positions today. As Ukrainians are fighting for their sovereignty against Russian forces, as the Middle East is addressing counterterrorism challenges, as the Iranian people are fighting and protesting against a regime that oppressed them for 4 decades, Algeria consistently positioned itself as the enemy of freedom, of human rights, national sovereignty, and freedom of expression. Algeria has always sided with Russia and Iran, for which the denial of political rights and civil freedom is a rallying cry. In a bipartisan letter addressed to US Secretary Anton Blinken last Thursday, 27 members of the US Congress called for sanctions against Algeria, since the Algerian government kept on purchasing Russian arms, which totaled $7 billion last year alone. Second, it is important to note that Algeria's political system has been a military dictatorship since 1962. Political opponents and dissidents are either imprisoned or sent into indefinite exile. In 2021, the Human Rights Watch revealed that Algeria broadened the definition of terrorism in its penal code, so that it makes it easier to prosecute nonviolent opponents. Moreover, as a Berber myself, I have exchanged with Berber Kabyles, who are dissidents, who had to flee the country. They confessed that they could hardly reveal their attachment to their Berber identity, because simply out of fear. To stifle any criticism, the Algerian government tortures and kidnaps minorities, denies investigations in the Tindouf camps, where Sahrawis are held hostages by the Algerian and Iranian-backed Polisario Front, and even cancelled last month the visit of the Special Rapporteur of the UN to Kabylia. Thirdly, the Algerian government has a dismal track record when it comes to combating racism and anti-Semitism. Algeria exhibited exceptional hostility when its neighbor Morocco signed the Abraham Accord and restored diplomatic ties with Israel. Videos of Algerian journalists urging jihad against Moroccans, whom they portrayed as evil Zionists, have surfaced in large numbers. To conclude, for the reasons I have mentioned, the Human Rights Council should reject Algeria's application. As far as preserving human rights and fighting against regressive ideologies are concerned, the upcoming years will be crucial. The UN Human Rights Council should not have a member with a political regime that demands the sacrifice of human lives to stay in power. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, at the Human Rights Council, a lot of what we report is bad news, but I'm happy to share with you good news about, well, I'll start with the bad news. The bad news was that Qatar has a new ambassador in Geneva. Her name is Hind Al-Muftah, and she seemed progressive. She's a woman. She wears a hijab. She was the first woman on one of the first 4 women on Qatar's Shura Council. So she has a PhD. She seems very progressive. It turns out that she's a rabid anti-Semite. She hates gays. She hates France. She hates the West. They're responsible for all the ills in the world. And she calls on God to curse gays. She wants to kill Jews. And she's the ambassador at the Human Rights Council for Qatar in Geneva. And they nominated her to be the head of the UN Forum of Human Rights, Democracy, and the Rule of Law. So we found some of her tweets, which were there to be found. And thankfully, she didn't get the job. So that was something. But then I was happy to see someone also with a hijab with a completely opposite approach. Her name is Lubna. I'm forgetting her last name, but she's the Deputy Ambassador to the United Arab Emirates at the Human Rights Council, and she took the floor a week or two ago, and she spoke in favor of peace. She said, I'm giving this speech on behalf of my country, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco, and Israel. And I have to tell you, that doesn't happen very often at the Human Rights Council, that they're bringing people together and helping peace. But it happened 2 weeks ago in Geneva. It was a very happy moment, and I hope we have more of those, and I'm glad that there are people like you as well. Hopefully we can bring the people to the Middle East together once again.